All right, I ask for the grace of God to fall upon me, power of the Holy Spirit, combat the attacks of Lucifer. I must speak in defense of myself to the state of Ohio, United States, Coin Interpol, international forces tied to United Nations, and governments that are not a part of the United Nations concerning the event of May 23rd, 2018, the murder of my ex-girlfriend, Chelsey Lynn Louise Godbold, and the events leading up to that, based off of how I brought up Parma. I woke up and had a memory recall, and I said all the facts about it. They're going to directed energy, they're going to D.E.W me, so I can't finish what I say. It's going to sound sloppy, it's going to sound like I have issues and whatnot, but I'm going to make my point as best as I can without writing it down in this short video, because I'm facing detainment based off of what I post and who I attacked inadvertently for whatever reason I did that for. Let me state my piece. I deleted some videos, so I'm 1 minute in and I have 40 minutes to speak. Let's get going. I won't waste no time. In January of 2018, I got a job. I'm going to tell it in storyline fashion. You be the judge based off of what my current lawsuit will be from the lawsuit that I wanted to do at the time. In January of 2018, I met someone, whatever organizations he was a part of is irrelevant. I met someone through my ex-girlfriend, who was my girlfriend at the time, Chelsey Lynn Louise Godbold. I was 28, she was 23. What's it called? We decided to work together because I had experienced tearing off roofs, and he was a roofer. Minimal experience regardless, few months here and there, whatever. Tear off and clean up. He hired me for a cleanup job on, I believe it's Ackley and Broadway on East Cleveland, right where the McDonald's is. First house, right off of, to the right, right where the McDonald's is on Ackley and Broadway. This was on a Friday, I believe a Friday or a Saturday. I started working, tearing off. I got paid cash at the end of the shift. I had to come back the next day to finish the job. It was a very hard tear off because there was wood shingles underneath the 2-3 layers of shingles and a bee's nest. And what's it called? That aside, I did my job. I got paid cash. And what's it called? My ex-girlfriend at the time was working at Circle K gas station on Pleasant Valley and 176 Broadview. She had to go to work that night around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. until midnight, 1 in the morning, or she had to do the night shift, I forget. I get off of work. She was already at work. I had to take the bus from Broadway, the 19. I believe I took it downtown. Got on the 51. At the time, maybe it was the 20. Or what was it on the 35? It used to be the 35. That went down West 25th. And then cut over to 176 Broadview. I got off at Brook Park and 176 because I worked all day. I wanted to get a drink at the bar and I needed to get cannabis. I have a medicinal need for it with my post-traumatic stress and pain, chronic pain, brain trauma, and spinal cord injury. Qualifying conditions for a medical card. At the time, it just recently became recreational medicinal in the state of Ohio, I believe in 2018. of that year. I forget what day. I'll double check here. I don't think, or 2017. Let's not get into that right now. I didn't get my medical card. I didn't have a medical card at the time, medical marijuana card. It wasn't as easy to obtain. What's it called? It's not about that. It's the point that I did not have a medical card, but I needed one, and I got one after. And what's it called? My girlfriend, I said I was gonna get some weed at Broadview Gardens, that we had to connect. And what's it called? I said I'm gonna go to Brookview Tavern. That's a bar that we used to go together, that she enjoyed going there. And I was always with her, and I just thought, I need to relax. I need to wind down from working because I have to go back in tomorrow. I just tore off a roof all day. So I proceeded to get some cannabis. 6 minutes in the video, I proceeded to get some cannabis and spent some time at Brookview Tavern. Usually, I don't spend time at bars my entire life, because when I go to bars, being how I look, I would say, just lack of better terms, I'm a pretty boy. Lack of better terms, beard or not, I have defined facial features, blue eyes, I'm a pretty boy. And I make people jealous, men jealous, specifically of other ethnic cultures, even my own, Ukrainian. And what's it called? That's why I don't spend time at bars, because when people get drunk and jealous, they tend to want to fight me. So when I used to drink prior, this aside, I would drink in the woods, I would drink walking, or I would drink and drive, unfortunately, in my drinking days. And I drove pretty damn good while I was drunk, drinking 12 to 15 beers when I was having my drinking. Anyways, that all aside, irrelevant. I drank a couple beers at the bar, and I got some weed. I got an eighth. I got an eighth of really good cannabis. 3.5 grams or 4 grams. My girlfriend asked me to come up to see her at her work, and I needed some space from her, and I needed to heal from working and go sleep at my mother's house. And the last bus to her job would be 11, 12 o'clock. And then if I went up to see her, I would have to wait an hour for the bus and come back, or I would have had to wait there all night, and I had to work the next day. So I said, I'm not going to come see you. I'm going to spend time at the bar by myself. I am going to recover, go home, and go back to work tomorrow. And what's it called? While at the bar, my father called me, or I called my father at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and he asked me, do you want me to pick you up from the bar? And I'm used to walking and cycling at the time and taking the bus, and I said, that's not needed. I don't need you to pick me up. You know what I'm saying? I'll just walk home. And what's it called? He said, okay, call me if the plans change. To my knowledge, one of the people at Brookview, I don't know if it was the owner or one of the security or somebody that was just part of their crew, was jealous of me. I don't know if he was jealous of the relationship I had with Chelsey, or he was just jealous of how I was behaving, shooting darts by myself and feeling good about myself. And like I explained to you, when I go to bars, this tends to happen to me. That's why I don't go to bars by myself. If I go with a crew, it's different. When I don't have a crew, usually. But when I was with Chelsey, she spent time at bars, and I would go with her, and I would feel safe because of how she was at the bar, and I was her boyfriend, so everyone accepted me as her boyfriend. Nobody bothered me when I was with her. But this night, what's it called? To my knowledge, someone at that bar, which to clear Judge O'Donnell, of this whole lawsuit I was talking about. There's a lot of lawsuits I'm trying to do, but it's one big lawsuit I call Oh Well. It's a federal lawsuit in America, but it's an international lawsuit tied to the Russia-Ukraine war and other international conflict zones. Use my data file as a witness on my YouTube and my X for anyone that wishes to be a witness in Oh Well, and or use the facts I presented for their own lawsuit, and use my X and or YouTube as a witness statement, or use me as a witness. I will gladly come to whatever state you're in and testify as a witness, or travel out of country if you pay me to do so. Now, with that, I'm not saying pay me as a witness. I'm just saying pay my travel to the location. Now, with that said, someone at the bar was jealous of me. Mind you, to clear Judge O'Donnell, to clear the officers I'm about to mention, one being Sergeant Porek. What's it called? I was in Cleveland when this person contacted the Parma Police Department, people he knew, whatever organizations they were part of, whatever ethnic culture they were part of, Freemason or not. I'm a non-Mason, and I do not practice the occult. For the record, I am not a Nazi collaborator. If I was in the past, I was unaware in my youth. I come from Nazi reparations. My grandma was enslaved by the Nazis. And, what's it called? To my knowledge, someone at Brookview Tavern, I need to know his name. I blame him over the city of Parma's guilt, over my guilt, over Sally Scott's guilt, over Norfolk Southern or CSX trains guilt, the conductor, for even the radio tower with directed energies guilt as to why Chelsey, Lynn, Louise, Godbold ended up getting murdered. Ultimately, all the people I mentioned are tied. And the blame falls on one of three people. Besides that, the controller of the 3-panel cell tower that is 50 feet away from the building with cameras from 480 train tracks and hidden surveillance from satellite, and hidden surveillance from the cell tower, and hidden surveillance in that general area that's 24-hour surveilled. Look at a Google Earth image. Don't play me stupid, U.S. government. Now, with that stated, who was monitoring the cell tower and or directing the directed energy weapon, the capacity to direct energy weapon? I'm being hit right now as I'm saying it from the radio towers close by. I feel the vibration on the noise reduction earmuffs that I'm wearing externally. I felt it all last night, very evenly. Now, who was at that control tower? This is shooting the story forward a little bit. And what group and or individual, what organizations they were a part of, Freemasonic occult or not. Yeah, I got hit really hard. It snapped my lower back. And just now with directed energy, my left side of my brain is full of pain. Now, with that stated, someone called me from Brookview Tavern, to my knowledge, where, again, let's keep the facts straight, I was in the city of Cleveland on the border of Parma, Route 54 on 176, on, I forget, January of 2018. That individual contacted his friends in the Parma Police Department, alerting them that I'm about to walk home, a 4-mile stretch. I had to walk because there was no more buses running after midnight. I was wearing all black in a book bag with gray Air Force Ones, Nike Air Force Ones. And to my knowledge, maybe a hat, maybe a red, white, and blue Indians hat or a hat. I don't remember. Or if I didn't have a hat, I don't remember. But I was wearing all black and gray Air Force Ones in the book bag that I had all my gear in from working the tear-off job. And to my knowledge, somebody from the bar, I don't know his name, look back at the record, I blame him for the guilt of Chelsey's death because of these factors, aside from the person who directed the directed energy weapons from the 3-panel cell tower 50 feet away from the building, 100 to 150 feet away from the site, where she would have somehow climbed down a stopped CSX and or Norfolk Southern train. According to the story I heard, to this day, Sally Scott never told me how she died. He lied to the police and the FBI. I heard from other people because I heard they were having sex on the train tracks. But at the time, his alibi was from other people that the train stopped. This is going forward again, and I will go forward and backtrack. He claimed that the train stopped. She climbed on, and then it started up. And for whatever reason, he didn't have enough time to pull her off the fucking train, even if he had to break her goddamn arm. Or climb on where she was and hold her there until the train stopped. For whatever fucking reason. In his intoxicated state. That in itself can be charged as involuntary manslaughter. Because there's 3 factors in the state of Ohio which determine involuntary manslaughter. I don't know them by heart. You could look them up, and I will look them up after this talk. To clear him of guilt, they were being manipulated by MK Ultra directed energy weapon. I am 100% fact on that. And what's it called? I blame the radio control tower. Aside from this individual who called the Parma police on me, alerting them that I'm about to be walk home, and they were trying to set me up for detainment out of jealousy and envy and hatred and racist xenophobia, because he was not a Ukrainian, and I don't believe he was maybe a Christian, and or I'm a baptized Ukrainian Greek Catholic. Okay, if he is a Mason or a part of any occult group. My grandma comes from Nazi reparations again. It's Nazi slavery. Now, what's it called? I walk out of the bar and I proceed to walk down cross Route 54 from Cleveland into Parma. No buses running. Okay? This is known to the Parma police that if you see somebody walking down 176, Route 94, or Route 42 after midnight from Brook Park or to Brook Park, the assumption would be, aside from suspicion, is that there's no buses running, so they miss the bus and they have to walk. So a good police officer, mind you, would approach an individual like that, wearing all black or not, book bag or not, would approach an individual walking down a state route after the bus stops running and ask, what is your identity? Whether the person gives it to them or not. And then offer them a courtesy ride back to their house based off the fact, if the person doesn't ask the officer, offer them a courtesy ride back to the residence because the buses stopped running. That didn't happen. Okay? Obviously, within a courtesy ride, the police officer, by protocol, should and would ask to search the individual in case they had any drugs, guns, or weapons, etc. Guns and weapons are the same thing, blah, blah, blah. What's it called? That did not happen in this situation. As I was crossing Route 94, I saw 2, to my knowledge, I do not remember if they were SUVs, the Parma Chevy Tahoes, or the cruisers. I don't know if those are Malibus or Impalas at the time. Excuse me. Excuse me, police. Excuse me for not knowing. It's hard, it's irrelevant. It's different when you're typing these. It's different when you're saying things recorded on the spot and you're facing detainment. So anyways, two police officers shoot past me as I'm crossing Route 54. To my knowledge, they were called on me from the bar. I don't know if it was the owner or who the group, if it was a group or one of his cronies or whatever that called. The police did not approach me. Okay, these two officers. What they did was menace me with stalking from Route 94 down Route 176, block by 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 block until I got 4 miles. 3.5 hours later, from midnight to the residence where I stayed at, my home address where I grew up at, which was Run 76 in Keystone Road. What's it called? How they followed me was they would pull down the side street 2 or 3 streets ahead of me and stop their car and watch me, stare at me through intimidation techniques. That intimidated me. It caused my PTSD trauma. I was terrorized. And I didn't know what their intentions were based off of how they were treating a local resident of 176. I don't know if they were out-of-town police officers working in the city of Parma or they were locals. Based off of their behavior, they were out-of-towners because locals treat you differently in the Parma Police Department from my experience. Even when I would say use of excessive force was called upon me, or I just dealt with a single local Parma police officer. And the same thing in Cleveland. I just never had issues with Cleveland PD. That's just the point with the difference between Parma PD and Cleveland PD and my stay in the greater Cleveland area my whole life. Never had issues with Cleveland PD, for the record. And what's it called? Aside from this past time when, based off my social media and all that, when I was at 2100 Lakeside and I was sleeping outside to escape 2100 Lakeside. And what's it called? That aside, there were some Cleveland police officers, out-of-towners, that were harassing me with their sirens on a timer with the rest of the orchestrated street theater actors and gang stalkers. This is a fact that's recorded. Go look at it if you call me any type of mental illness, which I do not have and deny. Going back to this event, what's it called? These two officers proceeded block by block by block to pull 2 or 3 streets ahead of me and stop there and just watch me walking to my fucking residence. All the way to my residence. Now, 3:45 in the morning. I start walking at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. 3:45 in the morning, 4 a.m. I make it to Keystone. Okay? And mind you, they're following me block by block by block by block. They would pull down the side street like this. I'm walking like this. And then they'd be staring at me. They'd pull away and go to the next block and do it again. And I would keep walking and keep walking and keep walking. And I knew something was up. I knew something was going to happen. 24 minutes out of 40. Let me see what I could do here. I might have to make another video. I might be able to get this all in together. When I made it to Keystone, my street, conveniently enough, these 2 police officers were parked in the turning lane of Keystone, in the middle of 176 Broadview, opposite to each other, like this, okay? Like that, in the middle of the road. So they knew where the fuck, they knew who I was, they knew my name, They knew where I lived, obviously, based off of that. So, in order to avoid an altercation with these officers, in case they didn't know who the fuck I was, and to avoid an arrest, I passed by Keystone. I walked directly past Keystone. And that made them suspicious. Like, why isn't he going down Keystone? And I went down Lorimer, the street behind Keystone. And my neighbors behind my house always cut through my yard when they were on Keystone to get to Lorimer, and I cut through their yard to get to my house on Keystone. We just did that, and we did that since we were kids. And the family, no matter what time, day or night, if they saw me doing that, they didn't care. And that's what I decided to do. I said, I'm going to go down Lorimer, and I'm going to cut through the Woods' backyard. I bring up the family name because they witnessed me get arrested. I was hoping they filmed it. Unfortunately, they did not. The mother and father of the Woods' family that live on Lorimer. I'd hate to bring them up right now, but by name, but I had to, because they witnessed me get arrested, and I had to swallow when I said that. Now, anyways, I start walking down Lorimer at 3:45, 4 in the morning. I'm tired as hell, man. Tired. And I'm pissed off that they're doing this to me. It's not the first time I had to deal with an issue like this in Parma, but this is the most serious it ever got to me for something so fucking petty and stupid. With certain officers, specifically in the nighttime in Parma, they have nothing better to fucking do. I've seen officers in the night. I've seen officers get red boxes from Giant Eagle, get a DVD, and sit in parking lots and just watch movies when they don't got shit to do. Okay, and these officers called to me, and chose to menace me with stalking because they were called to me from Cleveland, a man in Cleveland who knew them, if they were part of the same organization or not. Now, with that said, one of the police officers slowly follows me down Lorimer. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, obviously, if you didn't know where I was living, if I'm walking from Brook Park all the way to Lorimer 4 hours later after you did all that I fucking live on this street, wouldn't you make that assumption? And they're probably wondering why I didn't go down Keystone. Because they knew who the fuck I was. And conveniently, as I'm approaching the Woods' house, maybe I'm like 4 houses away, the officer turns around across the street from the Woods' house and pulls out of the driveway and turns back around facing me right in front of the Woods' house. Conveniently. And he witnessed I was still minor intoxicated at the bar from alcohol. And I have medicinal need for cannabis, so the combination. When I was walking, when he did that slow turn and came back and had shined his lights on me, there was a lip in the concrete of the sidewalk that was like, maybe it was probably like maybe like 1 inch to 2 inches where the ground was uplifted. You know, the sidewalk wasn't even from concrete to concrete block. It was like up a little bit. So there was like if you weren't paying attention, your foot would get caught and trip. And that's what happened to me. I tripped on Lorimer over concrete, an uneven concrete block. That's when he approached me, okay? And he said that, you're stumbling around and made the excuse. I wasn't stumbling around. I was walking coherently the whole way. I wasn't that intoxicated. And he said, wearing all black, stumbling around, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Made an excuse. Why the fuck you was talking to me? And I said, I'm not stumbling around. I tripped when you turned your car around. I tripped on an uneven block. And then the police officer said, I don't know his name. I don't know both of their names. I don't know the person who called them. I just swallowed. He asked me for my ID right in front of the Woods' house. And I was so pissed off that he would even ask me that question when he's gonna fucking say something to me right where my location of my residence is, that by law in the state of Ohio and in America at the time, I have a right to remain silent. And I don't have to show you my ID by law. I am not obligated to do so, especially in this situation, especially when you know who the fuck I am. You pull me over right in front of my fucking house after following me, gang stalking me, terrorizing me, intimidating me, putting stress in me, pissing me off, getting me riled up to the point where you're going to do this to me. Now, when something, a fight or flight response hit me when I went down Lorimer, something told me before that I saw them follow them down and turn around to just run through the backyards and go home. Something told me to do that, and that's what I should have fucking did. And even if he told me to put my ID before, when he was turning his car around and I tripped, I should have just booked through the yards, went to my house and locked the door. That's what I should have fucking did. But I didn't show him my ID because he knows who I am, and I have a right to remain silent, and I have a right not to show my ID to a police officer. I don't have to, whether I have it on me or not. He got pissed off, called for backup. And a total of 6 cruisers pulled up, 6 to 8 cruisers. I would say maybe 3 to 4 cars, and 2 SUVs. I would say there was a grand total of 8 to 10 police officers, 6 to 10 police officers, Parma Police, dealing with a 28-year-old local who they know who I am right outside my fucking house after menacing me with stalking because somebody in Cleveland called their friends to harass me. So one of those officers was Sergeant Porek. I knew for a fact because he was the arresting officer, Sergeant Porek. Now, the reason why I bring up Sergeant Porek is because I saw years ago on advocacy group Police to Police, he pulled 2 people over, Sergeant Porek, and had that body camera and was in the wrong, okay, with his judgment. And the 2 individuals, this was on Brook Park and State somewhere, pled not guilty with the body cam evidence, proved that they were not guilty and were released. And then they put Sergeant Porek's video on Police to Police. I had to swallow again. What's it called? When all 8 fucking police officers, which was witnessed by the Woods family, and there was 2 cops in each car, swarmed me, illegally grabbed my bag and searched it, my book bag. And I think I said at the time, I don't consent to a search and seizure, and that was a law at the time. I have a right to remain silent. I have a right to refuse my ID. I have a right not to be illegally searched and seized. What's it called? They grabbed my bag, searched it, started putting their hands in my fucking pockets, and found out I had a cannabis pipe and what was left of 4 grams to 3.5 grams, which was about 2.5 to 2 grams of cannabis. And they decided to, 3 police officers out of those 8, 6 to 10 police officers grabbed me and literally threw me on the hood of a police car. Threw me on it. Okay? They assaulted me. And one of those police officers, after they threw me on the front of the police car, kneed me in the leg. I forget which officer it was, but he literally kneed me in the leg. And I'm like, is that necessary? You know what I'm saying? Is all this shit necessary? For real, when you really look at it. When you really, really look at it, that's what this talk is about in my legal defense. They ended up charging me with disorderly conduct and public intoxication, paraphernalia, and possession of cannabis, or what the law calls marijuana, when it's a derogatory term from prohibition. And what's it called? I ended up getting arrested, detained, right in front of my house after all that. I was sent to Parma jail. I didn't have enough money for bond. Nobody could bond me out or get a bondsman. And this was a Friday, Saturday. So I had to spend like 2 or 3 days in jail until my court hearing on Monday, Tuesday. I wasn't able to finish the roofing job. I wasn't able to get paid and provide for my girlfriend. I failed that contractor I was working with because he relied on my tear-off skill and relied on me to finish that job on Ackley and Broadway. And I'm getting directly Wraithon Ravenclawed on my left side terribly. If, ow. That's why my body does that shit. Prevented a head pop. A second time today. Yep, I couldn't get a right one either. They're trying to detain me. So be it, so be it, so be it. I do not consent to detainment. I do not consent to forcible commitment. I'm innocent. And what's it called? Police to police. In that situation. The reason why I say that is because what I wanted to do at my trial with who I was sentenced to was Judge O'Donnell. They said this was a I don't know, in the pre-trial or the arraignment to get me out of jail. They asked me if I was guilty or not guilty. I said I was not guilty. I was trying to fight it in court. I was trying to get an attorney and fight that whole situation. I was going to charge the Parma Police Department, pleading not guilty, requesting a trial by jury. I was going to charge those police officers with 1, menacing with stalking, 2, harassment, 3, use of excessive force, 4, illegal search and seizure, and 5, assault and battery. And then if there's any other charges my attorney could do, I would have did that. What's it called? That's what I wanted to do. What ended up happening in my court hearing, I was living at this residence right now with my mother and father. My ex-girlfriend, at the time was living with her ex-husband. And what's it called? I had to go to court. I asked my mother and father knew I had to go to court. I asked them, please don't show up to my court date. I'm a 28-year-old man. Let me handle this on my own. They showed up to my court date. I walked from this residence to Parma Justice Center to see Judge O'Donnell by myself and expected to be there by myself unless there was someone else in the courtroom. Okay? My mother and father drove there and showed up when I asked them specifically, do not go. Let me see how much time I got. Oh, it's about to cut out. I have to make another video. So I'll talk about the trial in the next video after I delete some stuff. Here we go. I'm just gonna cut this shit out right here. And then I'll talk about the trial when I get to the trial. Next video.